Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai,
Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai.
Jai Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Baladeva Jaya Subhadra.
Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra.
Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram.
Jaya Krishna Balarama, Krishna Balarama, Krishna Balarama, Jaya Krishna Balarama.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Parijatikaacharya Shrotar His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Landanishwar Ki Jai Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Baladeva Subhadra Mai Ki Jai Shri Shri Krishna Balaram Ki Jai Shri Balaram Jayanti Mahotsav Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayamudiraye.
Tato Jayamudiraye.
Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu.
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavatyuttama Shloke.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki.
Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 2, Canto 10, I beg your pardon. Chapter 2, Prayers by the Demigods, Text 13. Is that up? Yes.
We go on tonight.
Garbha Sankarshana Tam Vai Rahu Sankarshanam
Sankarshanam
Bhuvi Rama iti Loka Ramana Balabhadram Bala Uchrayat Garbha Sankarshanatam Vai Prahu Sankarshanam Bhuvi Rameti Loka Ramanat Balabhadram Balochrayat Garbha Sankarshanatam Vai Rahu Sankarshanam Bhuvi Rameti Loka Ramanat Balabhadram Balochrayat Garbha Sankarsanatam Vai Rahu Sankarshanam Bhuvi Rameti Loka Ramanat Balabhadram Balochrayat
Garbha Sankarsanatam Vai Sankarshanam Bhuvi Rameti Loka Ramanat Balabhadram Balochrayat
Garbha Sankarsanatam Vai Rahu Sankarshanam Bhuvi Rameti Loka Ramanat Balabhadram Balochrayat
Ladies.
Garbha Sankarsanatam Vai Rahu Sankarshanam Bhuvi Rameti Loka Ramanat Balabhadram Balochrayat
Garbha Sankarsanatam Vai Sankarshanam Bhuvi Rameti Loka Ramanat Balabhadram Balochrayat
Garbha Sankarshanat because he will be taken from the womb of Devaki to that of Rohini Tam him Rohini Nandana the son of Rohini Vai indeed Prahu people will call Sankarshanam by the name Sankarshana Bhuvi in the world Rama iti he will also be called Rama Loka Ramanat because of his special mercy in enabling people in general to become devotees. Balabhadram. He will also be called Balabhadra. Bala Uchrayat. Because of extensive bodily strength. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The son of Rohini will also be celebrated as Sankarsana. Because of being sent from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. He will also be called Ram because of his ability to please all the inhabitants of Gokul. And he will be known as Balabhadra because of his extensive physical strength. Purport. These are some of the reasons why Balaram is known as Sankarshan, Balaram, or sometimes Ram. In the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
People sometimes object when Ram is accepted as Balaram. But although devotees of Lord Ram may object, they should know that there is no difference between Balaram and Lord Ram. Here, Srimad Bhagavatam clearly states that Balaram is also known as Ram, Rameti. Therefore, it is not artificial for us to speak of Lord Balaram as Lord Ram. Jayadev Goswami also speaks of three Ramas, Parashuram, Raghupati Ram, and Balaram. All of them are Ramas. Lord Balaram ki Jai. Om Ajnana Timiram Yasya
Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagadarakulatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagada Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpataru Yascha Kripa Sindhu Jayevcha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So today is a very wonderful day because it is the birthday of Lord Balaram. And as we all know, the Lord is not actually born in the same way that we are born in this world. The Lord's appearance is always transcendental, spiritual, because his body and everything about him is always completely spiritual. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti suvarjana. So Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita that one who understands the divine or transcendental nature of his appearance and activities in this world does not take birth again in this material world. Rather, he returns to Krishna in his abode, the spiritual world. So understanding the transcendental nature of the Lord's appearance is very important for us as devotees. In the world outside, people generally use the word birth for Krishna and Balaram like we use birth for ourselves, because they consider Krishna and Balaram to be ordinary human beings, or at the most extraordinary human beings, but still human beings nevertheless. But the Lord is never a human being, even when he appears within human society. So Krishna's birth
The anniversary, the Shri Krishna Janmashtami, is just a few days away, and today is the holy day of his older brother Balaram's appearance. Fascinating descriptions in the scriptures, beginning with the Srimad Bhagavatam, on the appearance day, details of Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram. And as we all know, Mother Devaki had 6 sons, and each of them were killed by the evil Kamsa, the brother of Devaki. And when Devaki was pregnant for the 7th time, this time with the plenary portion of Krishna, who is Balaram, Kamsa was waiting for the birth of the 7th son so that he could kill this child as well. But before that could happen, around 6 months after the pregnancy of Devaki, Krishna called Yogamaya, his transcendental potency, and he instructed her, my plenary expansion, Sankarsana Balaram, is in the womb of Devaki. Please transfer her from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini, who is residing now in Vrindavan, in Gokul. And he gives her this instruction. And there are many other things here mentioned which will be described by whoever speaks on the occasion of Janmashtami. Don't want to spoil the suspense. But one thing that he does indicate to Yogamaya about Balaram are the 3 names that he will be known as. The 3 names mentioned here are Sankarshan, Ram, and Balabhadra. So why is he called Sankarshan? He is called Sankarshan because he is attracted. The word Sankarshan indicates attraction from the womb of Mother Devaki to the womb of Mother Rohini. So because he will be so attracted from one womb to the other womb, he is called Sankarshan. And he is called Ram because he will give pleasure to the residents of Gokul. The word Ram comes from the verbal root Ram, which means to enjoy, Raman, like in Radha Raman. Krishna who enjoys with Srimati Radharani, so he's called Radha Raman. So from Ramana or Rama comes Raman, Ram, etc. Ram is the one who bestows transcendental pleasure. Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Bhistulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Shiva tells Parvati that I'm always chanting the name of Ram. Ram Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame. And in this chanting of Lord Ram, I derive a lot of transcendental bliss. It's very enchanting. Yoginam, also the big yogis, they also relish. Satyanande Chidatmani. They also relish this transcendental bliss by chanting the names of Ram. And because Ram awards transcendental bliss to the great transcendentalists, so he is called Ram. And specifically for Lord Balaram, because he would be awarding transcendental bliss to the residents of Gokul, where he would grow up, where his childhood and boyhood pastimes would take place, he is called Ram. And as Srila Prabhupada clarifies here in the purport, an important point, a misconception, especially in India, that Ram refers only to Raghupati Ram, Ayodhya Ram, Dasharatha Nandana Ram. Of course, Ram does refer to the son of King Dasharath. It does refer to the Lord of Ayodhya, to the husband of Sita, the Lord of Hanuman, and so on. But the word Ram also refers to Balaram, as is indicated here. It also refers to Parshuram, who is a Shakti avatar of the Lord. So the word Ram in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra refers to any of these three, depending on one's mood. But specifically, as followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, our mood is towards accepting the word Ram as not even Balaram, but as Krishna, Radha, Raman. So the word Ram also has a fourth meaning here, which is Krishna. And because there is no difference between Krishna and Balaram, and we'll come to that in a few minutes. So therefore, when we use the word Ram, we can refer to four personalities. Who are the four? Parshuram, Raghupati Ram, Balaram, Krishna, Radha Raman, Ram. But because today, confirmed. Yes. So rather Londonishwar is saying, yes, I am Ram, I am Ram, I am the original Balaram. Yes? So he's confirmed that. Yes? So he prefers that we think of Ram as Krishna. But real Londonishwar, today being Balaram's birthday, I must talk about Ram as Balaram. You please forgive me. And I'm sure because Balaram is so dear to you, you will be happy that we discuss his glories today. Yes. So that is Ram. And he's also called Balabhadra because of his extensive physical strength. Now this is at the time when Krishna is speaking to Yogamaya and instructing her to transfer Balaram from the womb of Devaki to Rohini. And then after that the birth takes place, the appearance of Krishna, of Balaram. We'll talk about that again in a short while. Once Balaram has appeared in Gokul and Krishna has also appeared in Gokul, a few days after that, when Krishna is only a few days old, he kills Putana. Shortly thereafter, he kills the cart demon, Shakatasura. Some time after that, he kills the whirlwind demon, Trinavarta. It is only after that the naming ceremony of Krishna and Balaram takes place in Gokul. Garga Muni, who is the family priest of the Yadu dynasty in Mathura, he visits Nanda Maharaj in Gokul. Of course, he knows what is what. He knows what's happened. He knows who is who. So he comes to Nanda Maharaj's house. Nanda Maharaj is overjoyed to see him. He welcomes him appropriately and requests him to conduct the samskaras, the Namakarana samskar, the reformatory or purificatory ceremonies for his two sons. Now, generally in the Vedic culture, there are many samskaras or reformatory or purificatory ceremonies that are supposed to be performed. Even before one is conceived, what to speak of after birth. So right at the time of conception, there is a Garbhadhana samskar. And then after that, during pregnancy, there are so many samskars. Then at the time of birth, shortly after birth, and it goes on till even not just death, but after death, when our descendants are supposed to do some samskaras for us, the Shraddha samskaras. So Nanda Maharaj, being a perfect follower of the Vedic culture, wanted these samskars to be performed. So he requested Garga Muni, please perform these samskars for my two boys. And Garga Muni said, if I do that, there is danger. Because it is known everywhere that I am the family priest of the Yadus of Mathura. And if I perform the name-giving ceremonies of your sons, then Kamsa will think these boys are also actually the sons of Vasudeva. And there is a danger to me from them. Therefore, there is a risk that Kamsa may get news about this and he may come here and then he may try to kill these two boys. So Nanda Maharaj, of course, didn't want to take such a risk. But then, at the same time, he did want to have this reformatory ceremony performed for them. So he said, please perform this ceremony, but in secret. Please secretly chant the mantras and perform the ceremony so no one will know about it. Shukadeva Goswami, of course, knew about it. Because Vyasadeva knew about it. They have transcendental methods of knowing. And then finally, the name-giving ceremony, the Namakarana Samskar, was performed for both boys at the same time. It is interesting that most of the milestones in the lives of Krishna and Balaram happened around the same time in Vrindavan. Their birth was approximately the same time, just a few days apart. Srila Prabhupada said 15 days, it may be 9 days, whatever, short time. It wasn't that long a gap. The Namakarana Samskar, name-giving ceremony, also happened on the same day, at the same time. The Annaprashana ceremony, when they are given grains for the first time, this usually happens around the age of 5 or 6 months. And even their crawling pastimes and so on, they happen roughly at the same time. So at the time of the name-giving ceremony, this is what Gargamuni said. And this appears in the 8th chapter of the 10th canto, which is titled Lord Krishna Shows the Universal Form. And Shukadeva Goswami says, this is Gargamuni speaking, Ayam hi rohini putro ramayan suhrido gunaihi akhyāsyate rāma iti baladikhyād balam viduhu yadunām aprathak bhāvāt sankarshanam ushantyapi. Srila Prabhupada translates this as follows. Gargamuni said, this child, the son of Rohini, will give all happiness to his relatives and friends by his transcendental qualities. Therefore he will be known as Ram. And because he will manifest extraordinary bodily strength, he will also be known as Bala. Moreover, because he unites two families, Vasudeva's family and the family of Nanda Maharaj, he will be known as Sankarshana. So again, 3 names of Lord Balaram given by Gargamuni, the family priest of the Yadus. The first name again is Ram, because he will give pleasure to his relatives and friends in Gokul and everywhere by his transcendental qualities. That we have seen a few minutes ago. He will also be known as Bala. Earlier, we had heard Krishna saying to Yogamaya, Balabhadra. Here it is Bala. Bala because of his extraordinary strength. So the first name was Ram, second name is Bala because of his strength. So Bala and Ram become Balaram. So his name is Balaram. And the third name also referred to earlier, Sankarshana. What was the reason for Krishna, Balaram being called Sankarshana? As Krishna spoke to Yogamaya? Because he would attract Balaram from the womb of Mother Devaki to the womb of Mother Rohini. However, here he is called Sankarshan, but for another reason. The reason is he will unite the two families of Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva. How is that so? It's a bit of interesting history. There was a king called Devamidha. he was in the dynasty of the moon. You know, there are two Kshatriya dynasties. One coming from the sun, which is called Surya Vamsha, in which Lord Ram of Ayodhya appears. And there is the Soma Vansha or the Chandra Vansha, the dynasty coming from the moon god. And it is in this dynasty that Krishna appeared. So Devamita was also a king in that dynasty. Now in those days it was the custom that kings would have many queens, many wives. So one of his Kshatriya wives gave birth to Shurasena. Shurasena also gave birth to Vasudeva, and Vasudeva eventually became the father of Krishna. So you have Devamita, then you have Shurasena, you have Vasudeva, and you have Krishna. So this is the line of Krishna. Yes? Meanwhile, Devamita also had a Vaishya wife. From the Kshatriya wife, he gave birth to Shurasena. But from a Vaishya wife, he gave birth to Parjanya. And because his mother was Vaishya, so he was also considered as a Vaishya. And he also married a Vaishya wife, and he gave birth to 5 sons. And the third amongst them was Nanda Maharaj. And he was unanimously nominated to be the king of Braja, even though he was not the eldest, he was number 3, because of his exceptional qualities. So then Nanda Maharaj was the father of Krishna. So from the Vaishya side you have Devamita, who was a Kshatriya, but then his son was Parjanya, then Nanda Maharaj, and then Krishna. So you have Krishna coming from both ways. Yes? So Krishna, is he a Kshatriya? Is he a Vaishya? Neither, because he is Krishna. He is transcendental, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. He has nothing to do with this world. This Kshatriya, Vaishya, Brahmana business is only for the material world. It is to bring some semblance of culture, morality and dharma into the world for the purpose of ultimate attainment of our goal of Krishna consciousness. But for Krishna, he has nothing to do with the varnas, nothing to do with these ashrams or anything of this world at all. But even then, for the sake of Leela, initially he acts as a Vaishya, and later he acts as a Kshatriya. When he is in Vrindavan, because he is born of Vaishya parents, so therefore he acts like a cowherder, which is one of the functions of a Vaishya. When he shifts to Mathura and Dwarka, because there he is a son of Vasudeva and Devaki and they are Kshatriyas, so he acts like a prince, like a Kshatriya. So now Balaram, how did he unite these two families? Because he was transferred from the womb of Devaki, who was in the Kshatriya line, to the womb of Rohini, who was also the wife of Vasudeva, but now she was in Braja. So in this way he united both the families, both in Mathura and in Gokula. So he united these two, therefore he is known as Sankarshana. So he has all these different names. Now interestingly, Jiva Goswami mentions in the Gopala Champu that Rohini was one of the queens of Vasudeva. She was living in Mathura. And when Devaki and Vasudeva were imprisoned by Kamsa, Rohini also used to visit Vasudeva and Devaki. Around the time of Devaki's 7th pregnancy, also there happened the pregnancy of Rohini. When Rohini conceived, when she became pregnant, shortly after that, out of fear of Kamsa, Vasudeva being inspired by Yogamaya, sent away Rohini to Gokul to be under the protection of Nanda Maharaj. So she left Mathura and went there along with other queens probably of Vasudeva. So they went there. So at that time, interestingly, Rohini was already pregnant with Balaram, and Devaki was also pregnant with Balaram. The Bhagavata mentions Devaki's seventh pregnancy as a portion of the Supreme Lord Balaram. So here was the portion, and Bhagavatam doesn't mention it, but Jiva Goswami says so, that in Vrindavan, in Gokul, Rohini was pregnant with full Balaram. And when both of them were roughly 6 months pregnant, and that is the time this transfer happened, when Yogamaya was instructed to transfer Balaram from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. So the partial Balaram now merged into the full Balaram. Yes. And the intricacies of this in relation to Krishna, you will most likely hear at Janmashtami, so you'll have to wait for that. So as far as Balaram is concerned, so he took birth in Gokul. How long after the transfer of Balaram from the womb of Devaki to Rohini did Balaram appear? Jiva Goswami says about 8 months. 6 months plus 8 months, so 14 months. So it would appear therefore that Balaram was in Mother Rohini's womb for 14 months before he appeared in Gokul. By which time, of course, after 6 months, then there was the apparent miscarriage of the seventh child of Devaki. When Yogamaya transferred Balaram from Devaki's womb, she lost her child. So it appeared to everyone that there was a miscarriage. The seventh child of Devaki had been aborted naturally. Kamsa also heard about this, and he had suspected that this child is not ordinary, but when he heard about the miscarriage, he said, well, maybe, who knows. So then he was all right, but he was waiting now for the 8th pregnancy. So already there was 6 months, and then after that, when the pregnancy was transferred and there was an apparent miscarriage, then again Devaki conceived after some time, and this time it was Krishna. So all these intricate things have been described by our acharyas, elaborating on what is already mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So finally Balaram appeared in Gokul, some days before Krishna appeared. The festivities at Balaram's appearance also were there, but when Krishna also appeared, then there were grand festivities the next day, which is why we have the festival of Nanda Maharaj. That happens the next day after Janmashtami. So Balaram was born. He was the older brother of Krishna, not by much, but nevertheless he acted as an older brother. In the Vedic culture, even if a brother or sister is older by even a short duration of time, one is given the respect of the older brother or sister, Nowadays, of course, in the modern day culture, even if you're older by 15 years, you just call each other you call the older sibling by the name. What to speak of siblings nowadays in the modern world, in some countries, maybe here, I don't know. Children call their parents by their first name also. Yes? So earlier it was more respectable, like mother, father, then it became mom and dad. And and then now it's becoming just calling them by their first names. It's happening there. They call the parents of their friends by the first name anyway. So then why not call their own parents by the first name? So being elder brother or elder sister meant that you were respected. So Krishna respected Balaram because he was his elder brother. So Balaram is not just the elder brother of Krishna. He is elder brother in Leela. But in Tattva, who is he actually? Now let's discuss a bit of philosophy. Are you ready?
Yes.
You want sleep? Okay. So when you give me that assurance, then a little bit of philosophy now. So try to hear attentively. Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. He resides in Vrindavan as the original cowherd boy, Govinda. He is two-armed. He plays the flute. He dances with the gopis. He is a beloved son of Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda. Now Krishna, this original form of Krishna in Vrindavan is called Swayam Rupa. Rupa means form, Swayam means self or original. So the original form of the Absolute Truth is the form of Krishna in Vrindavan. The two-handed form, playing the flute, herding the cows, dancing with the gopis, etc. Now this original form, Krishna, manifests itself into other forms. The word manifestation in Sanskrit is referred to as prakash. Prakash means many things, but in this context it means the manifestations. So those manifestations of Krishna from his original form, his Swayam Rupa, they are called Swayam Prakash, because they're manifestations from his own body. Now the Swayam Prakash, the manifestations from his own body, are of two types. Still there?
Yes.
Okay. The first type, the first Prakash, are called the Prabhava Prakash. Which Prakash? Prabhava Prakash. The Prabhava Prakash are those forms of Krishna who expand from the Swayam Rupa, the original form, who are identical with the Swayam Rupa in every respect. In form and in mood. So remember these two words, form and mood. The differences of the various expansions of Krishna are on two counts, form and mood. But the Prabhava Prakash, manifestations of Krishna's original form, are identical in form and in mood. Can you give an example?
Krishna of Dwarka.
In Vrindavan?
When Krishna expands himself in Rasa Leela dance.
Exactly, when Krishna expands himself in the Rasa Leela dance and dances with every gopi. So each of those Krishnas is called a Prabhava Prakash. Is a manifestation of the original Swayam Rupa Krishna, but each of these expansions is exactly identical in form, but not just in form, even in mood. So these are Prabhava Prakash. And then that Swayam Prakash, who expands into Prabhava Prakash, also has another expansion which is called a Vaibhava Prakash, in which there is a change of form very slightly, but there is also a change of mood, and that is Balaram. What is the difference between Balaram and Krishna? Does anyone know? The color. Any other difference?
The mode of service.
The mood, yes. But in terms of potency, in terms of form, no difference. The only difference Prabhupada mentions is Krishna is dark, Balaram is white. That's all. So it's not wrong to say that Balaram is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of course, he expands from Krishna. So Balaram has a form that is almost identical to Krishna, except that it's white. And we'll come to the question of the qualities a bit later. But his mood is slightly different. How is Balaram's mood different from Krishna's? Aren't both cowherd boys? Yes. Then what is the difference? Sorry?
Doesn't play with the gopis like Krishna.
Doesn't play with the gopis like Krishna? Is that a fact? No. This is a democracy. You have been outvoted. So Balaram does sport with the gopis, but these gopis are different. Not the same gopis who sport with Krishna. So then what is the difference?
This is service to Krishna.
Service, right, that's right. So, Krishna, just see how wonderful Krishna is. When Krishna wants to serve himself, he expands himself and then serves himself. Yes? We wish we could do that, right? Sometimes you're tired and you want someone to massage your body because you're feeling tired. You walked around all day. Well, who's going to massage? So, expand and then not possible for us. Then we have to go somewhere, we have to pay some masseur, we have to pay a lot of money and so on.
Expansion is tired also.
The expansion is also tired. Okay, I won't get into that part. But for Krishna it's easy. He just expands himself. Becomes Balaram. So Balaram is God? Yes, he is God. But he is called Sevak Bhagavan. Sevak means the servant. And Krishna is also Bhagavan, but he's Sevya Bhagavan. Sevya Bhagavan means that Bhagavan or God who is served. And Balaram is Sevak Bhagavan, one who serves, who is a servant Bhagavan or God. So Krishna expands himself as his Vaibhava Prakash form, Balaram, to serve himself. He is Servitor Godhead. So please remember this. Krishna is what Bhagavan? Yes, Swayam Bhagavan, yes. But Sevya Bhagavan. Sevya. Sevya Bhagavan, what does it mean?
One who is
One or God who is served. God who is served. Sevya Bhagavan. Who is Balaram? Sevak Bhagavan. He is God who serves whom? The Sevya Bhagavan. So the Sevak Bhagavan expands himself into Sevya Bhagavan to serve himself. This is the beauty. Now, these two expansions, these two types of expansions, Balaram, the Vaibhav Prakash, and the Prabhava Prakash in the Rasa Leela, and also when Krishna plays with his cowherd boyfriends, they're eating nice prasadam on the banks of the Yamuna, and all the cowherd boys think that Krishna is with them. It's also they're also Prabhava Prakash forms. So in Vraja, there is no need for any other expansions apart from these two. There are many other expansions of Krishna, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches to Sanatana Goswami in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And they come from these Vaibhava Prakash forms, the Tad Ekatma Rupa and all that. There are many other categories in that which we won't go into. For example, you have the 6 types of incarnations, and then you have the 4-armed forms of the Lord in the Vaikuntha planets, the Vishnu forms, Narayana forms. So none of these Tad Ekatma forms have any place in Vraja. In Vraja you have only 2. You have the Prabhava Prakash forms of Krishna, identical in form and mood, and then you have the Vaibhav Prakash forms, and the only Vaibhav Prakash form is Balaram, who has a very similar mood, a very similar form, with some differences, but a different mood because he is a servant, Sevak Bhagavan. And why? Because he is Bhagavan, even though he is servant, therefore he is complete in his service. How is he complete? Because he serves Krishna in all 5 rasas. Very remarkable. Which are the 5 rasas? Shanta, the rasa of neutrality. Dasya, the rasa of servitude. Sakhya, the rasa of friendship. Vatsalya, which is the rasa of parental affection. And finally, Madhurya or Shringar, the rasa of conjugal love. Now, Balaram serves Krishna in all these capacities, in all these rasas. So this is very remarkable. Of course, please remember that the higher the rasa, as you go from Shanta to Madhurya, the higher rasa also includes the lower rasas, the qualities of the lower rasas, but it also has certain extra attributes or features that the lower rasas do not have. Right? So the Dasya rasa has what the Shanta has plus something. And then the Sakhya rasa has what the Dasya and Shanta have plus something more. And this way all the way up. So therefore the gopis also, they are also in the mood of service to Krishna and all the other things. Not Vatsalya though. But they have some very special features which are not found in the other rasas. So generally we will see that each of the devotees of Vrindavan, you can see in them a certain rasa that is predominant. In Mother Yashoda, Vatsalya is predominant. The young gopis, Madhurya is predominant. So in Balaram, Sakhya rasa is predominant in Vraja because he frolics with Krishna, goes out with him herding the cows, and they play many games together. And sometimes, when Krishna is defeated in a wrestling match, which the cowherd boys have amongst each other, then he has to serve the one he loses to. So sometimes Balaram defeats Krishna in a wrestling match, and then Krishna has to massage Balaram's feet, or he has to serve him some other way. So these are their agreements that they strike before they have a competition. So in Sakhya rasa they enjoy in this way. But how does Balaram serve in other rasas? Well, let's start with Shanta, the rasa of neutrality. Very interestingly, Balaram expands himself to form the entire abode of Krishna, Goloka Vrindavan, the entire Krishna Loka. The whole Vaikuntha world is ultimately an expansion of Balaram, his Sandhini Shakti. So Balaram expands himself to become Goloka Vrindavan. Just imagine. This is his principal service in the Shantaras. He provides a platform in which Krishna can perform his lovely pastimes with his associates and devotees. Now, Goloka Vrindavan and the entire spiritual world are compared to lotuses. And you know that a lotus blooms and contracts. When the sun rises, it blooms, and at night it contracts. So similarly, this lotus-like Goloka Vrindavan, which is actually the manifestation of Balaram, it also expands and contracts to facilitate the pastimes of Lord Krishna. According to the need, according to what is necessary to nourish and sweeten the pastimes of Krishna, the Goloka Vrindavan planet expands and contracts. So when Krishna wants to go from one place to another place, then by Balaram's potency, the places in Goloka come closer together. Or when required, then they may go further away from each other. So Balaram serves Krishna like this in Vrindavan. In the Shantarasa, interestingly, Balaram also expands to form all personal belongings and paraphernalia of Krishna. His bed sheet, his blanket, his pillow, yes, the bed itself, his clothes, his ornaments, his flute, all his personal belongings are all expansions of Balaram. We all know that everything in Goloka Vrindavan is conscious. Everything in the spiritual world, in the Vaikuntha world, is conscious. There's no matter there as we have here. Matter is not conscious, spirit is conscious, but in the spiritual world, everything is conscious. So everything in Goloka Vrindavan is conscious. But the personal paraphernalia of Krishna are not just conscious, they are directly the expansions of Balaram. So Krishna's clothes are not ordinary. So therefore when you get the prasad of Lord Krishna, the Mahaprasadam, garments, sometimes you get his clothes, right? Some temples auction. Do you do that here? You auction the Mahaprasadam clothes of Krishna, the deity. So you consider that to be the manifestation of Balaram. And you worship them like that. So this is how Balaram serves Krishna in the Shantaras. In the Dasyaras, of course, he serves in many ways. Sometimes he will also massage the feet of Krishna. Sometimes he will do things for Krishna out of pure affection, yes, in servitude. And in the Sakyaras, I just explained how he plays with Krishna, wrestles with him, and makes Krishna serve him. In Vatsalyaras, he acts as the older brother. The older brother is supposed to be like a father. So a parent is one who cares for, looks after, and protects someone. So Balaram therefore also has this protective side to him about Krishna. He would never leave Krishna alone in the forest for even a moment. He would constantly be by Krishna's side. There were only one occasion when he would not go into the forest with Krishna, where Krishna would go alone. Which is that? Sorry?
When he's
His
meeting
birthday.
His own birthday, that's right. It is only on his own birthday that he would not go into the forest with Krishna and the cowherd boys, because his mother would force him to stay back. That's another Vatsalya. So he has to listen to his mother. So he wants to be with Krishna, but mother says, today's your birthday, I'm going to give you a special bath. It's still the custom in some places in India, although it's lost. Now very few people may do it. On their birthday, mothers will still, bathe their children, and before they do that, they'll apply all sorts of fragrant oils for good health. They'll massage the child with oil first. And then they'll give them bath with hot water and scrub them up and so on. This used to be done earlier. Nowadays hardly anyone does it. Nobody knows about these things. And oil, my God, I'll say, they'll say, no. The only thing they know about birthdays is there'll be some party and everybody will sing happy birthday to you. That's all there is. The holiness of the birthday is gone. Since we're on the topic of birthdays, birthdays are meant not for becoming the center of attention and feeling, some gratification to the ego. Everyone's going to pay attention to me. Everyone's going to remember me and come there, and the cynosure of all eyes and so on. But birthday is an occasion to take blessings of superiors, of the devotees, of the Supreme Lord, of one's elders, of one's relatives, and the good wishes of one's friends. In life, good wishes and blessings are very precious. We think of good things in life only in terms of someone give me some money, someone gives me some other material thing. We think, yeah, that is precious. But the blessings and good wishes of qualified people is actually our most precious possession. So the birthday is meant for that. It is also an occasion where one can remember Krishna, take Krishna's mercy and blessings, and do some special devotional activities. It is a day when auspiciousness can be invoked by performing various ceremonies, religious rituals, ceremonies. The names of the Lord are chanted, and various purificatory things may happen there at that time. It's also an occasion to call all the devotees together to glorify Krishna, have kirtan, have Krishna katha, distribution of Krishna prasadam, etc. Yes? So this is what a birthday is meant for. And yes, at least, please, do not blow out your birthday candles on the cakes. At least there's one thing don't do, please. I know cakes and all that, okay, alright, if you want to have it, fine. And you want to sing Hare Krishna to you, okay, alright, okay. If you really want to do that, it's okay, but you want to have candles, okay, but don't blow them out. Why not? Why not?
Lighting. The dark.
In Vedic culture, you light fire to invoke auspiciousness. You don't blow out fire. That's the opposite. So on your birthday or any nice occasion, auspicious occasion, you light a flame. You don't extinguish a flame. So somehow in the modern world, you put as many candles as the number of years you've passed in this world, and then you huff and puff and blow out those candles. And along with that huffing and puffing, you blow out your auspiciousness too. Yes? So at least don't blow out your candles, light a flame. And best is you light your lamp and offer to Krishna. Anyway, that was a bit of a digression, because it's not my fault, it was Balaram's birthday, and so it's good to talk about birthdays also. So the only day that Balaram did not accompany Krishna in the forest was on his own birthday, because Mother Rohini would do all sorts of things to him, rituals and bathing and so on and so forth. And one time on Krishna's birthday, Balaram, now playing the role of an older brother in the Vatsalya Bhava, he told Subal, in a tone of orderly, my dear friend, friendly but little that unmistakable sign of order there also. It's an order. Subal, my dear friend, please go and tell Krishna he should not go to the forest today, because today is his birthday, and along with Mother Yashoda, I am going to bathe him, and there will be many ceremonies to be performed here. So he should not go, he should stay at home. Please go immediately and tell him that. Or sometimes he may pass a message to Krishna. Krishna, today don't go to the Kaliya lake. So he would give orders sometimes to Krishna. Or sometimes even in Dwarka Leela, Krishna would have to pacify Balaram at many times. Balaram loves Krishna, so he wants to do anything that pleases Krishna. But Krishna also loves Balaram very dearly. And he also has that respect for him as elder brother, so he's always cautious what don't do in front of Balaram. Just like a younger brother sometimes hides a little bit from the older brother. And therefore, because of this elder-younger kind of dichotomy, there is a difference. So therefore the Rasa Leela of Balaram is different from the Rasa Leela of Krishna. The gopis are two different sets of gopis. It's a rasa bhas, the overlapping of rasas. You can't have the gopis of Krishna going with Balaram or the gopis of Balaram going with Krishna. That can't be. In fact, it is described that when Balaram walks in the forest and he sees some golden stones, he thinks, oh, maybe Radharani has walked here, so I shouldn't be here. He takes a different path and goes away. Similarly, if Srimati Radharani is walking on the forest path and she sees some crystal stones, she may think, oh, maybe Balaram is somewhere around here. I shouldn't encounter him. So that there's no awkward situation. And so she takes another path and goes away. So in this way, Krishna or Balaram serves in the Vatsalya Ras also. Now the question, what about the Madhurya Ras? Madhurya Ras means he has to be in a female body, right? But Balaram is a male. So how can Balaram serve Krishna in the Madhurya Ras? Anyone? Yes.
As Ananga Manjari?
As Ananga Manjari, that's right. So he expands himself as Ananga Manjari. Who is a Manjari? A Manjari is an assistant to a Sakhi or a Gopi. There are the main Gopis of Krishna or of Radharani. The Sakhis are those who are approximately of the same age. Maybe slightly younger or of the same age, or maybe slightly older. Very slightly. And then there are those Gopis who are a couple of years younger. Maybe 2 years, 3 years younger. And they are called Manjaris and their assistants. So, Rupa Manjari, yes, this Rupa Goswami in Gaur Leela. So there are many such Manjaris. So one of them is Ananga Manjari. And she is a special form of Lord Balaram to serve Krishna in the Madhurya Rasa. She is a younger sister of Srimati Radharani and who is the brother of Srimati Radharani? Sridhama. Sridhama, Radharani and Ananga Manjari are siblings. So she is the younger sister of Srimati Radharani. She has the complexion of springtime golden ketaki flower. In England you don't have ketaki flowers. Ketaki flower has a kind of a golden complexion, very beautiful flower. And her dress is like that of a blue lotus flower, Nilotpala. And she's exquisitely beautiful, like all the gopis and manjaris are. She's very dear to Lalita and Vishakha Sakhis. And she has a grove, Kunja, in the center of Radha Kunda. It's called Swananda Sukhada Kunja. Swa Ananda, giving pleasure to oneself. So she has a kunja there. And Bhaktivedanta Thakur has himself in his songs disclosed his own identity as Kamala Manjari. And he says as Kamala Manjari, he is the assistant of Ananga Manjari. Therefore Bhaktivedanta Thakur named his house in Mayapur, he is named one area as Swananda Sukhada Kunja. So Ananga Manjari is actually in Gaur Leela who? Anyone knows? Janava Devi, the consort of Nityananda, and Vasudha Devi. Nityananda Prabhu had two consorts, Janava Devi and Vasudha Devi. And the Gauda Ganodesha Deepika says that Ananga Manjari is both. And the Gauda Ganodesha Deepika also, and the scriptures also say that she appears as Gopal Bhatta Goswami. All the Gopal Bhatta Goswami is also sometimes considered as Guna Manjari, but sometimes as Ananga Manjari also. So Ananga Manjari appears in Krishna Lila to serve Krishna through the Sakhis in this way. So this is the contribution of Ananga Manjari, Balaram in the Madhurya Ras. So his Rasa Lila, Balaram's Rasa Lila, as I mentioned, has other sets of gopis. So that is not to be considered his Madhurya Lila service to Krishna. When Balaram performs the Rasa Lila, he is in the enjoying spirit as the Godhead, but in this Lila, he is not serving Krishna. He has his own Madhurya Lila. So we're almost there, 9:25. So I'll stop with asking you one question. Of course, there are many pastimes of Balaram in Vrindavan, outside of Vrindavan. How many qualities does Krishna have?
64.
Only?
Unlimited.
Unlimited. But of these unlimited qualities, how many are the chief qualities? 64. Yes? Of the 64, how many do the jivas have?
Up to 78%.
How many qualities?
60. No, 50.
50 qualities. Bindu bindu tayak kvachit. But it's not that all the jivas will have all these qualities. They will have only some of these qualities. Some of these qualities will be manifest kvachit sometimes. And bindu bindu taya, in atomic quantity, Krishna has them infinitely. But the jivas may have these qualities in very, very, very tiny quantities. So they may have 50 qualities, not at the same time. Sometimes one quality may show up in very small quantity. Sometimes another quality may show up in very small quantity. But Krishna has them in completeness. So these 50 qualities exist in the jivas, yes. But 5 more qualities exist in whom? In the great demigods like Lord Shiva, sometimes Lord Brahma too. They have 55 qualities. So they have much more of the 50 qualities than the jivas do. In addition, they have 5 extra qualities which even the jivas don't have. And these 5 qualities also they have, not to the degree that Krishna has it. Anshena Girishadishu, they have these partly. 55 qualities. Now what about the expansions of Krishna like Narayan, Vishnu? What about them? They have 60 qualities. They have the 55 qualities that the great demigods have to a larger extent than the demigods have. They have it in perfection. But they also have 5 other qualities that even Shiva and Brahma don't have. Krishna has them, of course, but in a much more excellent way than even Narayan and Vishnu forms have. So these forms of Godhead, they have 60 qualities in completeness and in perfection. But Krishna also has these 60 qualities in completeness and perfection. But what's the difference? No, the difference in these 60 qualities is that Krishna has them in a much more wonderful way. Adbhuta, the word used by Kaviraj Goswami is Adbhuta, in a much more extraordinary and wonderful way. Apart from Krishna having these 60 qualities in a much more wonderful and extraordinary way than the other forms of Godhead, like Narayan, he also has 4 extra qualities. Which are these 4? Rupa Madhuri. What does that mean? Madhuri means sweetness. So Rupa Madhuri means what? The sweetness of his beautiful form. Second, Venu Madhuri. Okay, Venu means flute. The sweetness of his flute playing. Third,
Leela Madhuri.
Leela Madhuri. He has exceptionally sweet pastimes. Like what? Like his childhood pastimes. Stealing butter, frolicking with the cows and the cowherd boys in the forest and so on. And then Prema Madhuri, the sweetness of having exceptionally loving devotees around him, like the gopis. Now, does it mean that Lord Narayan is not beautiful? Is Lord Narayan, Lord Vishnu not beautiful?
Yes.
Why are you hesitant? Are you not sure that Lord Vishnu is beautiful? He is beautiful, but not as beautiful as Krishna. So doesn't Lord Vishnu perform many nice pastimes? Yeah. But
Not as sweet.
not as sweet as Krishna. Is Lord Vishnu not surrounded by loving devotees in Vaikuntha? Yes, but not as sweet as Krishna. And of course, we don't hear of Lord Vishnu or Lord Narayan, Lord Narasimha playing the flute. Yes, they don't play the flute. Okay, so this is clear. The difference between Krishna and the Vishnu forms. So Krishna has these 64 qualities in completeness, in perfection, in a super excellent way, sweet way. Now, what's the question I'm going to ask you? Balaram. What about Balaram? Who's going to answer?
Definitely doesn't play the flute.
Sorry? Raise your hands, please, so I can know who's answering. Someone said something about the flute?
He definitely doesn't play the flute.
Oh, he definitely does play the flute. He does play the flute. That's described in the Srimad Bhagavatam very clearly. He does play the flute. Yes?
Yes, 64.
He has 64. Okay. Now that's the temple president speaking. You must be careful if you have to say anything different. But because he's Jainitai Prabhu and so kind and compassionate, he won't mind even if you have a difference of opinion. He will still be very nice to you. Yes? As he always to everyone. So Jainitai Prabhu says he has 64 qualities. So how many agree with him? Okay. How many disagree?
Someone raised their hand back there.
Okay. Why do you agree, first of all? Why do you agree that he has 64? Does he do these 4 things? These 4 extra things that Lord Narayan doesn't do?
Yes.
Yes. For example, does he play the flute?
Yes.
Yes. Does he do Rasa Leela and sport with the gopis?
Yes.
Prema Madhuri?
Yes.
Yes. Does he also steal butter and have wonderful childhood pastimes?
Yes.
He did. He was the accomplice of Lord Krishna. So he did all these things, stealing butter and so on. And they were fugitives from justice together. They were running away, hiding. Yes, so he does that as well. And what was the 4th one?
Beautiful.
Beauty. Is he not beautiful?
Yes.
Extraordinarily beautiful?
Yes.
So, he has a 64, right? That's your logic for saying yes.
Yes.
Okay. What about those who said no? Now be brave and raise your hand. Those who raised it earlier. Yes, what is your reasoning for saying no?
I don't remember. I had heard that I think there was one quality less in Balaram as compared to Krishna, but I don't remember what was that.
Okay, you're saying there's one quality less. Doesn't look like all 4. Right? He does all 4. Yes?
I just recently read in the Srimad Bhagavatam in a purport that only Krishna has the 64 qualities and no one else.
Okay, only Krishna has the 64 qualities and no one else. Okay, yes?
He's not the color of monsoon cloud. He is fine. So it's different. So
But does he have the 64 qualities or does he not?
He has.
Yeah, sure. What about those who say no? Yes.
He doesn't have the sweetness of what Krishna has doing his.
So Balaram's 4 things are not sweet?
This is what?
Sorry?
Sour.
No, actually you have the closest answer, you're right. Balaram has those 4 extra qualities. So Jayanithai Prabhu is right. He has the 64 qualities, but the statement needs to be qualified. In what way? He has the 64 qualities, but as Champaklatha Mataji has said, not to the degree of sweetness that Krishna has. So quantitatively, yes. Qualitatively, there is a slight difference. Krishna's Rasa Leela and Balaram's Rasa Leela, little difference there. Some difference. Krishna's role, Krishna's beauty and Balaram's beauty, there is a difference there. Krishna's flute playing and Balaram's flute playing, there's a difference. No one, not even Balaram, can play the flute like Krishna plays. Krishna's flute is completely mesmerizing. Even Balaram gets mesmerized. What to speak of others? So therefore the answer is, Balaram has 64 qualities. He has those 4 extra qualities, but not qualitatively the same as Krishna. There is some slight difference in the degree of sweetness of those. To some degree that difference may be significant also. So therefore it is right to say that only Krishna has those 64 qualities. It is right to say that because no one has those qualities like him to the degree that he has it, quantitatively and qualitatively. It is also right to say that Balaram has the 64, but with a qualified remark that it's not as sweet. Okay? Yes.
Maharaj, I was just wondering, because you mentioned that the Narayan expansions are also very beautiful. They're also surrounded by amazing devotees, and they also have lots of pastimes.
Yes.
So do they not have those 3 qualities as well? So what's the qualification for that?
Okay, your question is that since Lord Narayan and the Vishnu forms also have loving devotees and perform wonderful pastimes, then do they also not have these qualities?
Yeah.
No, because the specific madhur qualities, the madhuris that are mentioned, the Acharyas explain that Rupa Goswami specifically talks about the gopis when he talks of prema madhuri, being surrounded by loving devotees of the caliber of the gopis. That is not found anywhere else. Similarly, when it's Leela Madhuri, he performs very loving pastimes. Then he speaks about the childhood pastimes of Krishna, like stealing butter. You see, nowhere do you hear of God stealing, right? Nowhere do we hear of God getting punished, getting tied to a grinding mortar. So these are very, very extraordinary, exceptional. Some people would consider it blasphemous to even think like that. But for us, it's the most glorious thing. So Lord Vishnu doesn't have these. That's why Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayan, etc., maximum 60 qualities. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes.
Maharaj, thank you so much for enlightening. I don't know if this is a controversial question I should be asking, but I'm just asking this. There's a specific Leela of Lord Balaram, and this has been troubling me. It's Ram Ghat. He takes his plow and pulls Yamuna towards him, and causes bifurcation in Yamuna. So you mentioned, from philosophical point of view, Krishna's gopis are different and Balaram's gopis are different. but in this pastime, I don't have full knowledge of this pastime. But what I gathered was Ram pulled Yamuna for the Rasam. Is that a correct understanding? Is that a wrong understanding?
Well, he pulled because she refused to cooperate and participate. Time doesn't permit us to go into the whole pastime, but today is perhaps a nice day when you can open a Krishna book and read this pastime of Balaram chastising Yamuna in Hastinapur. But this did not happen in Braj. This happened in Hastinapur once he had left Braj.
Long ago I heard this pastime in at Akrura, at the place of Akrura when you gave the class. It was so hot I had to sleep.
Okay. Alright, so oh, there you are, yes. But here Balaram is he's holding the plow. And he's in Dwarka mood.
I have one more question.
Yes.
As you mentioned about Prabhav Prakash, and you also mentioned about
Vaibhav
Prakash. Prabhav Prakash are very much same in mood and in form, and Vaibhav Prakash different mood and slightly different form. But then Brajvasi says Krishna Ekapadam Nagachati. Then when he goes out for Dwarka, what form is that called? When he goes out to fight outside Vrindavan, what forms are they? They are exactly like Krishna, but they are in the Vaibhav mood, but they are not Vaibhav Prakash, because Vaibhav Prakash.
They are further from Tadekatma Rupa. They are also from the Vaibhava Prakash, from the expansions of Balaram. Devaki Nandan Krishna is Vasudeva Krishna. Balaram is also Sankarshan. So they are expansions from the Vaibhava Prakash. So not from the Prabhava Prakash. Prabhava Prakash are identical in every respect. The forms of Krishna in Dwarka and Mathura are not the same in mood. They are not cowherd boys. They are royal princes. That makes a difference. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Prabhav or Vaibhav Prakash?
Is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Vaibhav Prakash or Prabhav Prakash? Who can answer? He is Avatari Krishna. He is not a manifestation of Krishna. He is directly Krishna, not expansion. These others relate to expansions of Krishna. But he is directly that Krishna Swayam Rupa, who takes on this beautiful form. Okay? Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for such a nice class. Is the Krishna in Dwarka, is he some different than Krishna in Vrindavan, or is it the same person?
Is Krishna in Dwarka the same as Krishna in Vrindavan, or is he different? He's same and different. Let's give a simple example. When you're at work and you're in the temple and you're at home, are you the same person or different persons?
Same but different. Same person, different practice.
Same person but different moods.
Yes, exactly. You answered the question. Yes?
So why do they say that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan?
Because it's like if you were to stay at home and you didn't have to leave home, you could just expand and send your expansion to British Airways to work. And you could send your other expansion to do your shopping and another expansion to pay your bills and wherever. Then that would have been nice. So Krishna can do that. So he'll never leave Vrindavan because he likes to be at home, which is Vrindavan is his home. And when he wants to go to office, he wants to go to fight battles outside and speak Bhagavad Gita and all that. He expands himself and sends his expansions. You go. I'm going to stay here playing the flute and dancing with the gopis and herding the cows, and I'm going to be busy with that.
So in Dwarka, it's not an expansion, it seems so.
It's an expansion. The expansions, they embody different moods. Yes?
Thank you.
Vaibhava.
Yes, Vaibhava, Prakash. They expand, Tadekatma Rupa. Different varieties of that, yes.
So when
You
the
also
gopis
have-
are in separation,
Yes.
then Krishna is still present in Vrindavan,
Mm-hmm.
in their hearts.
Yes. And the aprakat lila, unmanifest pastimes, still go on there. When Krishna was in Vrindavan 5,000 years ago, his pastimes were manifest to everybody's vision. Everybody could see Krishna, whoever came there. But after Krishna left Vrindavan to go to Mathura, his manifest pastimes, prakat lila in Vrindavan, ceased. But because Vrindavan is the eternal place of Krishna, Krishna is eternally present there performing his pastimes. So in the unmanifest form, Krishna continues his pastimes in Vrindavan. But to ordinary vision, for the sake of the prakat lila, the gopis are without Krishna in a physical sense, but in their hearts they're always thinking of Krishna.
So in the unmanifest Leela, there is no time when Krishna goes anywhere else.
Yes, unmanifest lila is constant.
So there's no Jagannath.
But there is a Puri in the spiritual world too. Just like your question is there no Dwarka then? Why only Jagannath? Dwarka? Yes, there is a Dwarka in the spiritual world. There is a Mathura in the spiritual world. So who is Jagannath? Jagannath is Krishna in Dwarka feeling separation from Vrindavan.
Krishna is still there in Vrindavan.
Yes.
You can't
Yes,
get him to leave
give
with
the
all your
mic.
questions.
One last question there. Can you give the mic there?
Thank you, Maharani. So can you say that Vrajavasis are Vaibhava Prakash as well, or it's a whole different category?
That's different. You see, this is about the personal expansions of Krishna who are in that category. The expansions of the Brajavasis are in different categories too. Some of them are personal expansions from Krishna's body, and many are in other categories. But that is too intricate a topic to get into at this stage, especially when we are a little over time. But they are in different categories. We wouldn't call them in this category.
And Srimati Radharani as well.
Srimati Radharani is Shakti. Yes, she is the Shakti, the energy of Krishna. And from her body also there are many expansions. The expansions from the Brajavasis, who are expansions from the physical, spiritual bodies of Krishna and Radharani, are called Kaya Vyuha. Kaya means body, Vyuha means expansions. So from Radharani come her expansions, from Krishna come his expansions, his associates. But what we are talking about in these expansions are Krishna's direct forms. They are Krishna. Yes? Okay, so I think you had a question? Yes.
We have a little more time if you're happy to answer.
Yeah, no problem, I can answer.
Maharaj, so when Krishna expands in Dwarka to be with his multiple queens, so are they Prabhav expansions of his Vaibhav expansion?
Yes, they come in the category of Vaibhava Prakash. Or I beg your pardon, Prabhava Prakash. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains it as Prabhava Prakash because the one form expanding into many. So yes, you're right. So it is a Vaibhav and then that has its own Prabhava. Yes? So Dwarkadhish Krishna, he expands into many others identical to himself in form and in mood. So that is a Prabhav Prakash, expansion, but not in Braja, in Dwarka. Okay, very good.
Maharaj, you talked about Lord Balaram not being or going with Krishna when he went to the forest. So when Krishna fought with Kaliya, Balaram stayed back. You can shed some light on that as well.
Yeah, because somehow or the other, it also happened to be around the same time. These important incidents happen when Balaram is not there. These are the rare episodes. For some or the other reason, he is ordered to stay back in Braj. And that's when some of these mysterious things happen, the Brahma Vimohana Leela and the Kaliya pastime. Yes. You wanted to say something, Jenny?
Okay. Just a really quick one, Maharaj. You mentioned that Lord Chaitanya is directly Krishna. And I suppose Lord Nityananda is also directly Balaram. I understand that Lord Chaitanya takes on the mood of Radharani. Does Lord Nityananda take on the mood of anyone in particular, or is that directly also the mood of Balaram himself when he displays his pastimes as Nityananda?
As Nityananda, he is there only to assist Gauranga Mahaprabhu. That is his primary function. He doesn't serve in the Madhurya Ras directly. He doesn't serve with he's here. His function specifically is to facilitate and serve in the pastimes of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Yes, Janita.
Maharaj, I had a few questions.
Sure.
The first one was you mentioned about there was no other need for exciting expansions required in Braj apart from the Prabhav and the Vaibhav, those two expansions. I was just wondering about when Krishna expands as the cowherd boys and all the calves, what expansion is that?
Interesting question. This is another specific type of expansion that is for a particular Leela that is done. Very interesting expansion of Krishna, where the forms are different, the moods are different because every cowherd boy is different. The calf is every calf is different. Cows also have their own psychology and So yes, this is also a unique type of expansion. They have different forms and different moods. Yes.
Maharaj, also you mentioned, which I didn't understand, I wonder if you could explain, I kind of get the idea. You mentioned, I think, just quickly you said that Madhurya Ras, all the rasas include the lower rasas, but you said Madhurya does not include Vatsalya. Is that
No,
correct?
in the sense that there are certain qualities, features of them that the higher rasas include, not necessarily the mood. The mood in Vatsalya Rasa is that Krishna is my son. Yes? But that's not the mood in Madhurya. Krishna is not my son. The younger gopis won't think of Krishna as their son. They'll think of him as their lover. But when we say the qualities are included, it is, for example, in Shanta, there's only an appreciation of the greatness of Krishna, of the qualities of Krishna. But there's no active service. In Dasya, you have these qualities, the appreciation of the qualities of Krishna, but you add service. And you understand Krishna as greater than you. Okay, so you got this quality of appreciation plus service and understanding Krishna's greatness. Then you come to Sakhya, where the service becomes intensified and it moves into a phase of equality rather than subordinate position. And then this equality, there is a kind of, but it lacks, there is that intimacy there which is not there in Dasya. So there is some intimacy there in Sakhya. But then you have further intimacy that comes up in the Vatsalya, where you can actually reprimand, punish Krishna, tie him to the grinding mortar, order him. That's more. And in Madhurya, the level of intimacy in the sweet nectar increases even more. So in that sense, that whole thing is and this is found in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, how it's compared to the way the universal creation takes place, how the different elements are created, one within the other, each has the qualities of the other, like earth, water, fire, air, ether, You start with the subtlest, the next gross, higher, that's more gross, that has the qualities of the previous one. Ether has sound, so the sound will be included in the next one, which has touch. So air will have touch and sound. And like that you go on increasing till you come to earth, which has all the 5 qualities. So the same way the rasas will have the qualities of the one preceding it, plus more. Yes.
Yeah, just kind of last question, because one devotee, he asked me a question specifically about, I think it was described somewhere that Balaram is an energy of the Lord. And he was saying he's not an energy of the Lord, he is the Lord directly, the only difference is color. But my understanding he's also the embodiment of the Sandini potency. Is that correct?
No, Balaram is not a Sandini Shakti. Balaram has a Sandini Shakti.
Okay.
Balaram, the difference between Balaram and Radharani, Radharani is also non-different from Krishna. Balaram is non-different from Krishna. So then what is the difference between Balaram and Radharani? Radharani is Shakti and Balaram is Shaktiman. He is in the category of the source of the energy. So he is in the position of the source of Godhead. All the Radha Krishna together are the complete Godhead, because the energy and the energetic are together. But Balaram is energetic, in the category of energetic. Radharani is in the category of energy.
And just last thing, also thank you very much for explaining nicely, because some devotees say Balaram is 1 year and some days older. And some say a few days.
Controversial topic. I deliberately didn't get into it.
No, but you explained it so nicely, because you said Balaram was actually transferred after 6 months and he's in the womb for 14 months. So,
yes.
So somehow you explained that in a way that and you said that was Gopal Champu?
Yes. And also I think probably Vaishnava Toshani of Jiva Goswami. Any other questions? Somebody had a hand raised over there? Yes. Yes. Today I can stay on late without any sense of guilt or fear, because there's no prasadam.
Maharaj, in terms of qualities, is Lord Balaram more compassionate than Krishna? Because even in the form of Nityananda Prabhu, he is very compassionate. He is also compassionate with people like Duryodhana and others.
Yes, actually, indeed. That is the case. Because without the mercy of Balaram, we can't get Radha Krishna. We can't get entrance into Braja, into Vrindavan. And another point which I didn't have time to make is that Balaram is the original Guru Tattva. So the Guru is very compassionate, very kind. So by the mercy of the Guru Tattva, one gets Krishna, Radha Krishna. Yes?
Maharaj, my question wasn't that point that Lord Balaram is the original spiritual master, but then Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna, so could you please explain that? How is Lord Balaram the original spiritual master?
You see, Krishna only likes to play the flute, do the Rasa Leela, go with the cowherd boys, play games with them. You know, he likes to be pampered by Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. That's all he likes to do. He's not into speaking Bhagavad Gita, philosophy. Vrindavan, who speaks philosophy in Golokruta? Sometimes they do, actually, sometimes. But they're just too busy enjoying themselves. See? Philosophy comes outside of Vrindavan. Although in the 10th canto we will see that the gopis did offer prayers that contain a lot of philosophy. And the demigods come and they also pray and offer prayer, have philosophy, etc. But he is in Swayam Rupa, he is just enjoying himself in his transcendental pastimes. And the other activities come outside of Vrindavan, in Dwarka, in Kurukshetra, in Hastinapur, Mathura. So it is Krishna, but Krishna in a different mood. Okay?
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Thank you.
Maharaj, you mentioned Parashuram. He is Shakti-Vaishavata.
Yes.
But he's also in the song, Jayadev's song,
Yes.
called the Kurmavatar, Ramavatar. So I'm a bit confused because Shakti-Vaishavata is the empowerment of the Jiva Tattva. So if you can explain.
Your question is, why is Parashuram mentioned by Jayadev Goswami even though he is a Shakti Vaishyavatar and not a Vishnu Tattva? Yes? The classification of the 10 avatars by Jayadev Goswami is not merely on the basis of Vishnu Tattva Shakti Vish. He has selected the 10 most popular ones, the most prominent ones, and he has listed them, that's all. It doesn't mean that Parashuram is a Vishnu Tattva, or how is it? There's no contradiction here. Yes, his selection of the 10 is not necessarily only on the basis of them being Vishnu Tattva. Alright?
Maharaj, could you tell us which of those, because this question came up recently, which is I'm really glad could you explain to us each of the 10? Because I also heard Buddha is Shakti Avesh. And first, could you list which ones are Vishnu Tattva and which are?
Well, you see Buddha, Parashuram and Kalki. See, the thing about incarnations is that in different kalpas you may have different situations. Sometimes some of these Shakti Vaishyavatas may actually be Vishnu Tattvas. In some places Vyasadeva may be Vishnu Tattva, sometimes he is a Jiva Tattva. Like that. But in these 10 you have Kalki, you have Buddha and you have Parashuram. Right? They are Shakti Avesh. And then the others are Vishnu Tattva. Narasimha, Kurma, Matsya, Vamana, Varaha, Ram, Balaram. So they all come from Krishna eventually. Yes. Mike?
Maharaj nicely explained the expansions of the Lord himself, but just briefly was mentioned that there was persons as Kamal Manjari, there was 2 or 3 in the same category, like this is Kamal Manjari, or this is Ananga Manjari.
Ananga Manjari.
And it was like 2 persons, or maybe even 3. So
Yes.
all these expansions work, or
Oh yes, that's quite common in the spiritual realm. Just as Krishna can expand, even a liberated jiva can expand into many forms. What to speak of the close eternal associates of Krishna in the spiritual world? They can also expand. So that's clearly there. Prahlad Maharaj, for example.
2 free bodies, but actually it's one person, right?
One person and expanded. Prahlad, for example, is in Sutala Loka. He's in 2-3 places at the same time. Hanuman as well. So for liberated souls and eternal associates, such things are possible. And in Gaur Lila, you will see this fairly often. One personality enters into many more than one sometimes. Yes, the back.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We said in the beginning, you said in the beginning that Krishna has unlimited energy and unlimited quality, right?
Mhm.
So when we talk about the 64, if I understand correctly, it's not that he only has 4 more than all the other. He has
64, as I mentioned, were the most prominent ones selected by Mahaprabhu and Sri Rupa Goswami. The most prominent amongst them. Otherwise, he has unlimited qualities.
So he has unlimited plus 4.
That's what is it?
He has unlimited among them. When we say he has only 4 different commands.
Amongst the unlimited qualities, these are the 4. Because unlimited plus 4 is also unlimited. Infinity plus 4 is infinity. So it's all included. Amongst these unlimited qualities, these 4 stand out because they are found only in Krishna in Vrindavan. Okay? Anyone else? One last final question? Okay. Sorry. Yeah, can you give the phone and the mic here?
Thank you, Maharaj. Just very quickly, so just coming back to Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, can we understand then that when Krishna manifests in the heart of the pure devotee, that heart is directly Vrindavan?
Yes, indeed. Indeed. That's exactly what Prabhupada says. Whenever one thinks of Krishna, one is in Vrindavan. Mahaprabhu also says, Mora mana Vrindavan. My mind is Vrindavan. Because he's always thinking of Krishna. So wherever there is Krishna, that is Vrindavan. So if we are thinking of Krishna and his pastimes in Vrindavan, even here in London, we are in Vrindavan. Because Vrindavan is not merely a geographical place, it is also a state of consciousness. Yes? It transcends space and time. Alright? Okay. Yes.
I think Professor Mark's going to have the last question.
Yes. The temple president always has the last word.
So, yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, when you said it, it's the first time that I recognized, because you explained so nicely with the chronology, Marge. But I was realizing that Rohini, she became pregnant with Balaram, and the father is Vasudeva, but he was in prison for Devaki. So how is that one explained?
Yeah.
Did they let him out for a day or two?
In Gopal Champujiv Goswami explains that Rohini was in Mathura and she would visit Vasudeva and Devaki frequently. And that is how she also conceived. And then out of fear of Kamsa and being impelled by Yogamaya, then Vasudeva sent her to Vrindavan to be under the care of Nanda Maharaj. Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Balaram Jayanti ki Jai. Shri Krishna Balaram ki Jai. Gaur Premanande. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj ki Jai.